In a quaint suburban neighborhood, there stood an old, weathered house that had seen better days. This house, with its creaky floors and peeling wallpaper, had a basement that no one dared to enter, especially not the children who lived there. Sky, her older brother Ye, Elijah, and his sister Honest. The basement was a place of whispered legends and terrifying tales, but none more frightening than the story of the scary man who lived down there. It all started one gloomy afternoon, when the children were playing in the backyard. Their ball, worn but cherished, bounced erratically and rolled toward the old, rusty basement door. A sudden gust of wind blew the door open, its hinges groaning as if in pain, and the ball disappeared down the dark stairway. "Did you see that?" Honest whispered, clutching Elijah's arm. "It went down into the basement." Yea, always the responsible older brother, sighed. "I'll go get it. Wait here." He stepped toward the open door. Sky, her curiosity piqued despite the fear she felt, followed him to the top of the stairs. "Be careful, Ye." As Ye descended the creaky stairs, the light from above barely penetrated the gloom. The air grew colder with each step he took. Suddenly, there was a blood-curdling scream from the basement, and then... silence. Sky's heart pounded in her chest. "Ye!" Sky cried, her voice shaking. She waited for a response, but there was none. "Ye, are you okay?" Still nothing. Panic set in. "We have to go down and find him," she said, turning to Elijah and Honest. Elijah, looking hesitant and overwhelmed, nodded. Honest took his hand, trying to offer some reassurance. "We can't leave him down there." Together they descended the creaky stairs, each step echoing ominously in the cold, dark space. The faint light from above barely pierced the gloom, and the basement seemed to swallow them whole. Shadows danced along the walls, and the air felt thick with a foreboding presence. As they reached the bottom of the stairs, Sky found a light switch and flicked it on. A dim, flickering bulb cast a weak glow over the basement, revealing old furniture covered in dust and cobwebs, stacks of forgotten boxes, and tools scattered haphazardly on a workbench. Ye was nowhere to be seen. "Ye!" Sky called out, her voice trembling. There was no response, only an eerie silence that made the children's hearts race. Then they heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible whispering coming from the far corner of the basement. It was a low, guttural murmur that sent shivers down their spines. "Do you hear that?" Honest whispered, clutching Elijah's hand tighter. Sky nodded, her heart pounding. "It's coming from over there." She pointed toward a darkened corner, its shadows unnaturally deep. "Maybe Ye's over there," Elijah suggested, his voice shaking. Sky approached the corner cautiously, her hands trembling. She took a deep breath and stepped closer, peering into the darkness. The whispering grew louder, forming incoherent words and phrases that made no sense. "We need to get out of here," Honest said urgently. "Something's wrong." But as they turned to leave, the basement door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The light bulb flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in. Sky fumbled for the flashlight on her keychain, and when she turned it on, they saw him, a shadowy figure standing by the stairs, blocking their only exit. His eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and his twisted grin was barely visible in the dim glow of the flashlight. The children screamed, but there was no escape. The man moved closer, his presence looming larger and more terrifying. He didn't speak. His silence was more unnerving than any words could have been. They backed away, desperate for a way out, but the basement seemed to have transformed into a labyrinth of shadows. Elijah, in his panic, found a small window near the ceiling and began to frantically try to open it. Honest and Sky tried to help, but it was stuck. The man's heavy, deliberate footsteps grew louder, and they could feel his cold, clammy presence getting closer. Sky tried to shield Elijah and Honest, but the man's grip was too strong. He reached out with cold, clammy hands and grabbed Honest, pulling her towards him. Honest screamed, her voice piercing the darkness. "No!" Sky screamed, trying to pull her back. "Let her go!" Honest's terrified eyes met Sky's. "Get Elijah out of here!" she cried. Elijah finally managed to pry the window open. "Come on, Sky!" he yelled. Sky hesitated, torn between saving herself and helping Honest. But the man's grip tightened, and Honest's screams echoed through the basement. With tears streaming down her face, Sky helped Elijah through the narrow window, tearing their clothes and scraping their skin in their desperate bid for freedom. As Sky was about to climb out, she glanced back to see the man's cold, clammy hand reaching out for her. Before she could react, He grabbed her by the arm, his grip like a vice. Her scream joined the echoes of Honest and Ye's, fading into the eerie silence. Elijah tumbled into the backyard alone, gasping for breath, heart pounding. The basement door remained shut, and the house seemed to settle back into its silent, eerie calm. But he knew the truth. Sky, Ye, and Honest were still down there, trapped with the malevolent presence that haunted the basement. And sometimes, late at night, Elijah could still hear the man's eerie footsteps and the haunting screams of his friends, echoing from the depths below, reminding him that some stories are all too real.